What's up, guys? I hope you all had a fantastic Thanksgiving. I know I did, so that is great. But we are back with the weekly CassMac chat. There's not a lot of Braves movement since last week, and last week we talked. But I did want to bring up the baseball insiders, Ken Rosenthal and such, have talked about the Braves having to clear payroll because we are so close to the luxury tax. And we are. But it's not like we have very desirable contracts that you want to dump. You've got Marcelo Zuna, who I continually talk about every week, and his baggage, plus Eddie Rosario. He's got 1 year and $9 million, I believe, left, plus a team option for 2024. And yeah, he was our hero in 2021, but he's definitely coming off a forgettable year with the eye surgery and everything coming to a head there. A little bit grosser defense this year as well. So again, that's not that attractive. Plus, even though in my mind, signing 1 year deals is never a bad thing. Moving Charlie Morton off a 1 year, $20 million contract 2 months after signing him, as someone rightfully pointed out on Twitter, that's not necessarily advantageous either. So we don't have really contracts at all that you want to move. Like I said, we've got a lot of what's up, Hudson? We've got a lot of really good contracts that you want to keep, but obviously the glaring hole of shortstop is still there. And if you want to clear payroll, it's going to be a creative process. Again, I trust Alex Anthopoulos. And like I said, I think my opinion is that we'll go over, pay a little bit of a fine, whatever that is. And then next year, a lot of those contracts come off the books. Charlie Morton, Eddie Rosario, those things of that nature is more likely to me. But again, shortstop is the glaring hole that we have right now that obviously everybody is talking about and is nervous about. Because like I've said, in many of these, I don't necessarily want Vaughn Grisham or Orlando Arcia to be our shortstop starting 2023. As a utility piece, as a bench piece, sign me up, but not as the primary starter. But that's just the reality of where we are right now. And again, Alex Anthopoulos and company know what they're doing. So I will, and I typically wait for things to happen before reacting. So that's typically what I do. Some other news and notes from today: Justin Verlander met with the Dodgers. Unsurprisingly, what's up, Jameson? The Justin Verlander meeting with the Dodgers is not about as least surprising as anything. The Mariners have interest in Michael Conforto. Conforto has been dealing with shoulder, scapula type of injuries for the last couple of years. He's a Boris client, so I honestly don't want any part of that. Because honestly, he hasn't played baseball in a couple of years, so I don't know how effective he would be anyway. But that was a rumor. Latest, the big signing of today was Jose Abreu goes from the Chicago White Sox to the Houston Astros. So they now have their first baseman for 3 years and $60 million, which is a little steep for me. Jose Abreu is a great player, but he's had a myriad of injuries and kind of inconsistencies after winning, I believe winning the MVP or he was a finalist a couple of years ago. I thought he would be like a 1 year, 2 year lower contract, but he ended up getting 3 years, $60 million from the Houston Astros, $20 million per year. Good get for Jose Abreu, and honestly, good get for the Astros in terms of needing a first baseman DH, and he's younger definitely than Yuli Gurriel. During the World Series, I did not realize that Yuli Gurriel was 38 years old, so that's a really, really good reload get for the Astros. And as annoying as they are publicly as a team, I continue to admire that they just continue to reload. So good on the Astros there, and doing this without a GM or assistant GM is quality from Jim Crane. Even if you really don't like the Astros, which is where I'm sitting. Mike Clevenger signed previously of the San Diego Padres, kind of blew up in the postseason in game, I believe it was 4 in the NLCS. Couldn't get out of the first inning after the Padres put up 4, kind of getting a redemption, prove it type of deal. 1 year, $12 million with the White Sox, or it can be up to $12 million. I think it's an $8 million base salary, which is kind of a nice get for the Chicago White Sox. Quality. He was quality when he was with the Cleveland Guardians. They were the Indians then, but has had Tommy John and trying to work back into quality form there. The Dodgers always go for the biggest guys and get the biggest guys, but then end up not exactly winning, because they get the big ticket guys, but they don't have the quality role players like the Braves and like the Astros have compiled over the years. And we saw Eddie Rosario, Jorge Soler, Chas McCormick, those type of role players that don't get the notoriety that the big guys do. I think that's what I don't like about that, how the Dodgers build. I don't ever like the Dodgers per se, but they're basically a money tree, so who knows? And with getting rid of Cody Bellinger and some other contracts, they have money to spend again, as they always do. So we'll see how that works. And then the Pirates continue to get random first basemen. I think they now have 4. G-Man Choi. They signed Carlos Santana to a 1 year, $6.7 million, and I think that's a solid veteran for the Pirates as a DH and clubhouse, and because they're so young. But $6.7 million feels like a lot. They also have Lewin Diaz, who they claimed off waivers from the Marlins. So they're stockpiling first basemen, which I don't understand, but I guess the Pirates are going to pirate there. And then Miguel Cabrera also announced that the 2023 season will be his last. Miguel Cabrera is the ultimate GOAT. I hope he goes out the way he wants to go out. No injuries, no nothing interrupt it for him because he's absolutely awesome. And I've always respected what he does, what he's meant to the game, and everything that goes along with it. Let's see. Julio Teheran signed a minor league deal with the San Diego Padres and will make $6 million if he makes the roster. And I honestly think he will, because I didn't realize he was still only 31. But he's got a lot of juice left in the tank, and he's always been one of my favorites. Because we were in Kissimmee experiencing the whole spring training thing, and we were sitting at the fence, and he had just got done with his start, and he saw me, and I wanted an autograph, obviously, but he saw me, and he said, "I gotta go run my polls, but I'll be right back." And he was super, super nice to me, so I will always have a special place in my heart for Julio and what he did for the Braves organization, single-handedly crushing the Marlins. Kind of gave me the warm and fuzzies anyway. Even in his decline, he was still very, very solid against the Marlins, and that being a divisional thing, that's perfect there. There was a rumor that Kyle Gibson, formerly of the Philadelphia Phillies last year, has talked to the Pirates about a reunion, so we'll see there. Again, the Pirates are in the news a little bit, not for flashy stuff, but again, I'm trying to cover all of the baseball news. Yeah, I really do hope Miguel Cabrera has kind of like a Albert Pujols magical moments, because what he's done for baseball in general and overall is second to none. So for Miguel Cabrera, I really hope he does have a great year as well. I did forget. I did a video on what I think where the Braves stand right now, and I totally forgot to mention the catching situation, and that is another place where we could shed salary, so to speak, to get lower from the luxury tax. We could move Manny Pena, with Travis d'Arnaud and William Contreras being the best catching duo. Also, you have Chadwick Trump, and we saw what he did in the one game. He played for us 3 doubles, and really good with a lot of our young minor league guys. So again, you could see Manny Pena get traded. But again, there's not a lot of contracts that would interest other teams, honestly, because all the contracts that we have signed are team friendly and are guys that are our core. So it's very interesting. But again, the catching situation is second to none, and that is even after getting rid of Shea Langoliers. Yeah, he was actually really good with Ian Anderson, honestly. He had a really good start with him in San Diego. Very early on in the year, I think it was April, 5-2, but that was the only time that I remember Ian Anderson having quality consistency. It was still kind of pulling teeth, so to speak, but yes, Manny Pena started a little bit it was the first month or the beginning of May, I think, is when he went down with injury. So I could be wrong on that, but I distinctly remember him and Ian Anderson connecting pretty well, but that was like really early on in the season. But yeah, it wasn't a lot, and it didn't really. It helped that William Contreras was so consistent, and yeah, I still love the signing at the time. Again, we were coming off 7 catchers, and again, you could still have it. Excuse me. Sorry. Have him on the roster, and because theoretically, you could move William Contreras to DH. I don't necessarily want that because Contreras improved so much behind the plate. And if we're going to have to keep Marcell Ozuna, I need Marcell Ozuna at DH because I cannot watch him in left field at any point. But if we need to move on and we get something quality, or we build in our farm system a little bit more, that would be good as well. I could see hopes dwindling. I feel like my thoughts are that it was Dansby Swanson or something that we're not seeing. Because I heard that Dansby wanted $30 million a year, and do I think Dansby's worth $30 million a year? Not necessarily, unless you give me a 3-year $30 million or a 3-year $90 million contract. I would be totally fine with like a 140 for Dansby, but if he really wants $30 million a year, I don't see it. And if we're really that concerned about the luxury tax, I don't see us going after any of the other big four: Turner, Correa, Bogarts. I don't. But you could also see, because the Milwaukee Brewers are kind of having a fire sale, you could also see Willy Adames, and a lot of people are leaning there because Willy Adames is 2 years younger than Dansby, and he mashes and is really solid defensively and has been around the league and understands positioning. And that's why I lean towards Dansby, because we know what he is defensively. No matter how many offensive slumps he gets into, his defense never slumps. But I could see the notion that Dansby's return hopes are dwindling, but I honestly don't know. I really can't read it, especially after the Freddie Freeman situation. And Freddie and Dansby have the same agents. So I don't know if I actually answered your question at all. But I feel like, again, I really don't want Vaughn Grisham or Orlando Arcia to be our starting shortstop. Again, nothing against them. I just feel like shortstop is way too much of a premium position, and the way the Braves have built our team with such fair and team-friendly contracts, I just feel like, and the window of winning opened a little quicker than the miracle run we had in 2021. I just feel like it would be terrible to just kind of put tape and glue on such a premium position. Not that Vaughn Grisham couldn't turn into the next Jeremy Pena, and if he does that, because excuse me, because Ron Washington is a wizard, that would be great. But it's just one of those things. Yeah, that's also true because 95% of the time the Braves social media breaks the news anyway. So again, I couldn't tell you again how the Freddie Freeman situation. I think he has a promising VG has a promising future, no doubt, but I think it's more of a utility. And I've gotten on this wagon the last couple of weeks. The utility Martin Prado, Omar Infante type. And he had a lot of errors at shortstop, and I just don't know that it's not a Jeremy Pena situation right now where he can get super comfortable and be the everyday guy and just plug and play type of thing. I just don't see it right now. But I love that the VG thing is kind of caught on, so I don't have to actually, and you guys understand what that actually means. But I am excited to see what Vaughn turns into, and I'm also excited to see. This is a prospect to watch. Justin Henry Malloy. Phew. He looks ready now as a utility guy. His plate discipline, his strike zone awareness is second to none already, and just he's an on base machine, which would be a nice fit to our lineup that has so much power and such. He balled out in the Arizona Fall League. That's the one that I hope everybody looks at. And on the pitching side, I actually want to look at Schuster a little more. I don't know that he's ready to be a factor, but Jared Schuster, our first round pick a couple of years ago, just feels like he might do a Michael Harris where everybody kind of has their eyes on him as that's a dark horse 5 candidate. And if that actually happens, mark this date down. And if I'm actually a genius, I need to go to pick the lottery numbers. But Jared Schuster on the pitching side is somebody to look for, I believe. But I think it's also Bryce Elder as well. If we don't go outside of the organization for the number 5 starting position or starting rotation rather. But that is pretty much, and Ronald Acuna Jr. is balling out in the Venezuelan league or the Venezuelan winter leagues, and I think he's actually participating in a home run derby tonight, so that's awesome. But he's been running very well, crushing baseballs, 3-run homers, having fun in a rivalry with some of the pitchers as well. He's been super awesome. So that is so nice to see, and hopefully Yeah. Yeah, we don't need another stupid injury from Ronald. Charlie Morton, again, I will always say, no matter what what the numbers are, it's no matter a 1-year deals are never bad, except maybe the Cole Hamels deal that didn't work out, but it did help Freddie Freeman and Chelsea with their personal life. So I will always like that. But in terms of Charlie, I think his stuff is still there. I think he's got to figure out the home run ball because that's what got him this year. And yeah, I think this will probably be his last year, but I think he wants to go out on his own terms because with the broken leg, no off season really with the lockout, he didn't really get to a full off season, throwing programs, things of that nature with our training staff. So I think that is big. And then obviously in game 4, he got hit in the elbow and all that stuff. So I really think he deserves to go out the way he wants to. And I still think he has quality stuff and is very important to our young guys on the staff. Look at what he did for Kyle Wright, because they're basically carbon copies of each other in terms of stuff and arsenal. And I think you're right. He's in his twilight of his career, but I think he's still very solid and capable. And he still had some magical moments last year. He's just got to figure out that home run ball. He really's got to figure out how to keep the ball in the ballpark a little more because that hasn't ever really been a dire issue. But the 2022 it was. So hopefully, again with a full off season and such, he can turn back into what he was for us in the latter part of 2021. So that's my ultimate thoughts on Charlie Morton and what he is. I think the rotation as it stands right now: Max Fried, Spencer Strider, Kyle Wright, Charlie Morton, and obviously the 5th spot is up for discussion with guys like Elder, Colby Allard. But please no Colby Allard. He's got a lot of great strikeout numbers, but I don't. It doesn't have the feel. Ian Anderson, but I feel like Mike Soroka as well is out there, and I really, just for my heart, I want Mike Soroka to return to Maple Maddox. So no, I don't think he's gonna hinder it because pitching, you can never have enough of it. That's just the reality. As we saw in last year, our pitching depth with Max Fried getting sick the way he did and then losing that much weight and all that stuff, and Spencer Strider coming off the oblique, our pitching depth was starved last year, and we thought it was pretty decent. Oh, I also forgot Kyle Muller as well. But you got a lot of options in number 5. I don't know if they all jump out as yay right now, but Bryce Elder showed some really good stuff. So did Kyle Muller. Ian Anderson still got that spicy changeup, and I feel like Ian Anderson could be the Kyle Wright of this year, kind of taking that extra leap. And like you said, veteran presence in a rotation that's been through every war, every possible thing you could in baseball. And like I said, I think it's more Charlie wanting to go out on his own terms than mostly anything else. But I think that's where the rotation stands now. Would I be sad if we upgraded it a little more for more depth? No. Do I think it's a Justin Verlander, Jacob deGrom? I would scream with excitement if it was, but I just don't see it. But we never know what Alex Anthopoulos is doing. It's crazy how kind of silent things have been, but that's also because of the lockout. Everybody spent so much money last year before the lockout, and then having to do it last year. I think we kind of the entire baseball world is just kind of trying to do it the right way this time, and the winter meetings are December 6th, so right around the corner. You should see a lot more action there, and some trades and some things. But again, that's pretty much where the Braves stand. I like our bullpen. Yeah. Yeah, I don't. If Mike Soroka came back half of what he was, that would be an amazing 5, especially with a full year of Spencer Strider, a full year of Michael Harris II, a year with Matt Olson not having the Freddie Freeman shadow on him, completely comfortable with being in Atlanta, all that stuff. And Ozzy hopefully staying healthy. Austin Riley doing his thing. It still gives me the warm and fuzzies. Yeah, I'm nervous about what we do with the shortstop position, but I trust things. Like, I trust Alex Anthopoulos more than I trust any of my team's front office or staff in that way. So I'm not worried whatsoever in terms of that. And even if I don't agree with a move or something, I wait to see it kind of play out. I'll have an initial reaction, obviously, and give you my good opinion, but it's rare that Alex Anthopoulos misses. So, and the funny thing was, we were this close, very, very close to hiring Dayton Moore, which nothing against Dayton Moore, but I think we would be in a completely different situation and not have a World Series championship right now if that had happened. And I honestly, I hated the prospect scandal with John Coppolella, and I appreciate everything John Coppolella did, but I honestly think he would have more of a knee-jerk reaction thing, and it would be a completely different and it would completely be completely different. I don't know if we would have had all of these great contracts, all of this core, and the love that our players seem to have for Atlanta, the organization, and everybody around it. And the fact of the matter is, AA doesn't sugarcoat anything. He's honest about it, and he understands when you walk away from Atlanta legend that Freddie Freeman was, you've got to kind of tell your fan base that you're going to be okay. And that's exactly what he did when we got Matt Olson, and then like 5 minutes later getting that extension. That tells you he cares deeply about the organization now and beyond, and that's all you can ask for as an organization. And obviously you're not going to hit on everything like the Marcell Ozuna contract, but AA didn't do it. Marcell was just a dumbo and put himself in a bad situation and put the organization in a bad situation. And it's not his fault. And honestly, the contract looked pretty solid when he first signed it. But it extenuating circumstances, changed that, and there's nothing you can do. And like I said, the Cole Hamels contract maybe is not the greatest, or wasn't the greatest, and for some reason Cole Hamels hasn't officially announced his retirement yet. But you're always gonna have some misses, but AA has a lot of quality and quantity since he's been around and he understands the organization. I wish our farm system was a little more plush, but the good thing about that is most of our quality in our farm system is up helping with big league success. Michael Harris Strider, AJ Minter, Von Grisham. So, I mean, that's exactly what you want your farm system to become, a pipeline, and you just want it to continue, and that's what we've done. The depth is a little not there anymore, but we've still got some quality down there, and that's the one thing about a Willy Adames type of trade that is going to eat into that enormously, and it's already pretty barren, especially on the position player side. But it really should be. It's definitely going to be interesting to watch. We've also had a Mitch Haniger was rumored to be one of our targets, but again, I think that is coming from the Mariners side, because like Hudson said, there is unlike the Braves to give any information away. So that is pretty much where the Braves completely stand. But so that's pretty much there. And then the Hornets are getting blitzed by Boston, 40-16. They've made 9 threes. We've made none. And wow, our injuries continue to pile up. So that's not good. College football was bonkers.
Back home again in Indiana, where Indianapolis for a Monday night matchup between the Steelers and the Colts tonight.
Yep, they are all on the official roster at this point. So it's a good thing, but you got to rebuild it again, and I know Alex Anthopoulos will do that. And it's a catch-22, and it's what you want to happen, obviously, because prospects prospects are still prospects until they prove it. So, and most of ours have proven to be very, very fruitful on the field and off of it, because we got a lot of great guys. You just gotta find a way to rebuild it, but it's a nice problem to have, and there's no other person I'd rather lead us in that way, along with the coaching staff of Brian Snicker, Weiss, Sal Fasano, Ron Washington, those guys. And I was actually surprised that we were able to keep those guys intact again. And still, to be honest, I really was. But I'm very happy about that. I don't think it'll continually last, but I think Walt Weiss is the heir apparent to Brian Snicker whenever he decides to hang it up. But all I can say is that the Snickers own the World Series trophy right now, so that is nice to see and understand. Our organization is just so greatly run, and I'm so happy about it right now, and just kind of just the winning culture, and I'm really, really happy about that. But
and it's been better. He hasn't turned the ball over as much because they have relied more on Jonathan Taylor and the things.
I can't really. I think because I like him as a hitting consultant, because I just don't know if Chipper could manage the personalities that you have on an MLB roster. He kind of gives me like the Chris Johnson vibes, where if he disagreed with somebody, they would go toe to toe, so to speak, like Terry Pendleton and Chris Johnson did in the dugout years ago. But that's just an opinion. I love that he's still around the organization. Obviously, some politics and health things kind of got in the way of it this past year and stuff. But I hope that he continues to stick around and be a face of our organization. And that's what I like about you still see Andrew Jones, you still see Del Murphy, you still see Chipper Jones, you see Brian McCann, you see Jeff Rancourt, and keeping that core and the Atlanta Braves legacy, old, new, and current. And it's amazing to just kind of know that we love everybody seems to love the organization as much as the fans do, and care of that as well. And it's also very cool that the Braves will be public in a couple of years. That should make it very interesting to see
There's not a list. It doesn't have sweet potato on it. Should I look at the replay?
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing Chipper as a manager just to see how he how he would fit, but I think he's just such a good hitter that I think he should just stick to that. But it would definitely be an interesting thing to follow, and I would also, if as long as it wasn't the Mets or the Phillies or any of our division, I would secretly cheer for him a little bit if that ever did happen, whether it was our team or someone else's. But yeah, being an alumni, and I think the Braves being up for sale in the next couple of years should make it interesting as well. But again, as long as we continue to be good, you got the fans, 3 million type of fans, and I don't think free agency and putting a quality product out there isn't gonna be a problem for many years, and that's a really great thing considering I'm a Carolina Panther fan, I'm a Charlotte Hornet fan, and the uncertainty, the bad injury luck, the merry-go-round of quarterbacks, that type of thing is not nice to see. Thank you, Mom. So it's just nice to have an organization that you can put your complete trust in. You might not love every move, but they have a track record to where you give them the benefit of the doubt. And the World Series ring and the 5 consecutive division titles, especially coming off last year, 10.5 games back, still beating the Mets. That resonates with everybody. And the fun thing is, everybody in our organization really wants to be a part of the organization, and that's all you could ask for. My dinner tonight, for those of you that follow, and mostly during when I do live watches, my mom brings dinner because that's just how I do it. It is fried pork chops and baked potato tonight, so yum. But I think any other questions or topics?
Joe, this will be Jeff Saturday's third game on the sideline since being named interim head coach 2 weeks ago. Eyebrows with certain players from Colts versus
Yeah, why not? Yeah, that's quality trolling and trash talk. That is definitely quality coaching or quality trolling and trash talk that I would be here for, especially if somehow that the Mets don't sign DeGrom and somehow he's in, or somehow we pull it off and shock the world and get Jacob DeGrom somehow.
He believes he makes up for it in passion for the Colts organization after 13 seasons here and a Super Bowl championship. It was a message that seems to have resonated with players. Matt Ryan said he was as shocked as anyone when Saturday was hired, and he told them that. But he said he's been so impressed he's come in and handled an impossible situation in such a real and upfront way. And Ryan said guys truly respect Jeff Saturday for that.
Yeah, so do I. More questions? No. His personality has nothing to do with obviously he's a flashy personality, but I feel like no, I don't think it has anything to do with getting in the way of his performance whatsoever. I think not having Ozzy during the tough times, because Ozzy was injured as well, I think that played more of a factor than absolutely anything. To be honest, I hate the fact that everybody seems to have to defend Acuna. Because every player struggles, and coming off a catastrophic injury like that, you're not going to be what you were before the injury right away. I mean, unless you're Adrian Peterson and we're robotic, it's not feasible. Plus, these guys are humans, and emotion and things play into playing a sport professionally and doing anything professionally. So his personality is absolutely fine. I love it. And yeah, you're gonna yell, you're gonna not be happy with some things that any player does. But just to continually put him on blast for the smallest of things, and I think it has, his personality is what it is. It's gonna rub some people the wrong way, but but you also just gotta realize that's who he is, and he's not gonna change that. And dealing with the soreness and things of that nature kind of piles everything up as well, and the human element's never gonna go away. And Acuna is one of the best baseball players I've ever seen play, and from the looks of what he's doing in Venezuela, it's going to be fun again. And having Ozzy, like Hudson said, I think that played into it more than anything, because Ozzy and him are like brothers, and the brotherhood of the clubhouse and things of that nature. And all that Ronald cares about is winning and being part of what we are, and he is a massive, massive part of that. So that is just my overall take on Acuna, and it's kind of probably the most annoying thing that I see on Twitter, I see everywhere, is that having to defend Acuna so much. And I mean, he's our best player, and he's one of the best players in baseball, so you're going to have a bigger spotlight on you no matter what. And then coming off injury, everybody wants to nitpick and things of that nature, so that's just the complete reality of the situation, I believe. And things of that nature. But not a lot of things happened this week, but we're still almost at an hour. But exactly, and he's 24, but it feels like he's been around for forever. And you're not gonna like everything anyone on your team does every day. I mean, and I get annoyed at some of his moments, but I also get annoyed at Matt Olson. I get annoyed at everybody when they do something that is boneheaded or annoying or whatever. It's Acuna. Nobody on the team is immune from that, from me. And like I keep saying, the human element of living and playing baseball professionally and playing any sport professionally or doing anything professionally, they're not robots. They're gonna make mistakes, and you gotta live with it. And yeah, you can be annoyed because it cost you a game here or there, but the ultimate thing is Ronald Acuna is still a generational player, and he has saved us, and we would not have won the World Series without what Ronald did before his injury. And I think people forget that. And he's still single-handedly won us about 5-6 games in 2022 as well, at like 80%. So, and I believe Ozzy will, as long as Ozzy doesn't have another couple of dumb injuries. or freak injuries. I think that energy and Ronald and Ozzy being what they are will be a massive ad, so to speak, for the Braves. Chip Carey's favorite line, making a trade without making a trade. Sorry, I had to get that in there. But yeah, I think that's
Najee Harris starts with a nice carry on first down.
That's always going to be my opinion on Acuna, and I will die on defending that hill. And if he annoys me, I will say it, but it's not going to change my opinion of loving Ronnie and loving what he's all about.
Stephon Gilmore, former defensive player of the year, is outstanding still at the age of 32. Choice here. Second down and 3. Pickett throws, pass, caught, first down. Deontay Johnson. And a catch for a quick first down for Pittsburgh. They get the ball on the first throw, then to Deontay Johnson. A lot of talk this week and some of the frustration that he expressed not getting more opportunities in that game last week. Look to see him get moved around a little bit more than what he typically does. See if they can't free him up. But like a lot of quarterbacks like to do, go get the ball to your number one wide receiver after he's been a little during the week. Here's a toss to Najee, and he gets the line of scrimmage. That is it. First guy there, Zaire Franklin, no game.
But I'm glad that there was a little bit more movement today with Jose Abreu coming off the market. He'll probably crush those Crawford boxes if he stays healthy, of course. But it's a bigger name off the market, so maybe it'll start flowing. Flowing a little bit, but I think it's been really good conversation. I didn't realize I would have this much to talk about. But I do this every Monday, and when the season starts, I will do my live watches. It will not be on Monday, but I will have them out on Twitter for you guys to follow or wherever. If Twitter goes up in flames for whatever reason. But thank you guys. It's always amazing to have conversations and questions and things of that nature. Just love of baseball, love of sports overall. It's really nice to see, and it really helps the watch hours. So hit that subscribe button if you haven't. Hit that like button. Really helps. And I will talk to y'all next Monday. Hopefully we have a lot more news to talk about and break that down as we always do. As always, go Braves. Champions forever. Talk to y'all. And if any moves obviously happen during the week, I will have you covered. Head over to my channel and the individual videos, but I will also be here next Monday.
First down is Steven Sims.